Hello, my name is Laura Nix. I'm a documentary filmmaker in the documentary branch based in Los Angeles, and I'm really happy to introduce you to the directors of the very beautiful and poetic short documentary Qotzuñi, Michael Salama and Gastón Zilberman. Welcome, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. And we're really happy, to be at this place talking with incredible filmmakers about our film. So thank you.
It's really my pleasure to get a chance to talk to you today. I was really excited when I first watched this film. It was the first film I watched this year, completely coincidentally on the portal. Um, I was like, okay, I'm going to get started today. And I opened up, I said, I only have time to watch a short. And then I saw the image of Katsuni. I was like, I'm going to watch that one. And I was like, wow, that's a really good film. And I really liked it. And it doesn't always happen when you're watching your shorts that you have that experience. And so I think it's kismet that we're all here today. I was really impressed by how the film is centering the voices of the Uru people who are trying to sustain their tribe after the lake where they made their home, Lake Popo in Bolivia, was decimated by mining and by climate change. And my heart was just broken when they described themselves as orphans because they consider the lake their mother and their father. And I was really moved by that. And I was wondering if you could explain what happened to their lake and what effect has this had on the Uru people?
Yeah, totally. So Lake Popo was the second largest lake in all of Bolivia, and the Urus had lived on it for their entire history. But unfortunately, about 10 years ago, there was a major drought related to El Nino, which was kind of the death knell for Lake Popo, which had already been diverted for mining in the Andes region. There's a lot of tin mines and silver and gold mines that both divert the headwaters and also have contaminated it with mercury, arsenic, and lead. It's also changed the pH and the acidity and the salinity of the water, making it more easily evaporating. And so then, yeah, 10 years ago with that drought, it caused the lake to dry out entirely. And it has really affected the Urus. They were a fishing and hunting community, so it affected their livelihood and their sustenance, but also their cultural identity. That, like we said, Qotzuñi means people of the lake, and it was really their cultural epicenter. And so to lose that, they lost so much more than just the ability to eat the fish and to have the water, but they lost what really gave them their cultural essence.
Thank you for explaining that. I think there's so many parallels with the film I'm executive producing this year, Yanuni, because that's also indigenous territory, this time in Brazil, which is being greatly affected by mining. In this interest, it's happening with gold mining in the area of Juma Shapaya and the Shapaya people. And I've worked on another environmental film where the all the land was being destroyed. The water was then poisoning the fish, which was affecting the people in Indonesia on an island called Bangka. This is a film I made called Inventing Tomorrow. So I keep coming into contact with these situations where mining is decimating the way of life for an entire area and people. And it's a big challenge because the mining operations have a great deal of money behind them. It's also affected by climate change too, yes, in this instance. Can you speak a little bit about that?
It's not just maybe diversion of waters for mining and agriculture, but also the contamination of the soils, together with a change of composition with the time, and that it makes that that sometimes in the rain season comes, it dries out much faster with the heavy droughts. So it's kind of all this complex system and combination of these factors that end up with the disappearance of the lake, that we sometimes say that it was stolen, and it wasn't that it just vanished and disappeared. It's due to human activity and climate induced drought. And bringing what you said about Yanuni and Indonesia and Brazil and Bolivia, and something that we really want to share with this film, it that the Uru community is just one example. It happens all over the world in many different ways in all this complex system and society that we live now, that we're all affected by this extractivist industry and over, like, human overdevelopment.
Mhm. Mhm. I was wondering if you could speak about how you both came to this project and how you were able to build trust with this community so that they gave you access to being able to tell this story.
Yeah, well, we actually came to the topic because of an interest in exactly what we're discussing, which is the interplay between mining and water access. And so I was in the region doing undergraduate research when I was still a student, and Gasti was also still a student, and we kind of met there, not coming to the project as filmmakers because we hadn't even been filmmakers. Like I would not have called myself a filmmaker 2 years ago, but we came across the Uru community through some advocacy groups that we were working with, very local advocacy groups, and they said to us, if you want to learn about mining and agriculture and indigenous communities and access to water, you really should go to Lake Popo. It was the second biggest lake, and this community was really connected to its waters, and go see how they are adapting. And so they were really instrumental in putting us in touch with the Uru authorities. And so we went to their authority meeting and presented ourselves as students who wanted to learn more about the project and wanted to do whatever we could to try and help really tell the story to the world and see how that could maybe bring some resources for material change. We didn't say, we're going to bring the water back to the lake or we're going to do all these crazy things. But we wanted to, we expressed what our skill set was, and we decided with the community together that a documentary was going to be the best way to try and bring about that change. And
Mhm.
so in that sense, it was definitely a collaboration from the beginning that, we weren't even there with the cameras like ready to go. We kind of chatted with them and realized along the way that this was the best way to do it.
It started, I'm from Argentina, close by to the lake, and I was traveling around Bolivia on the search of these stories, doing documentary photography. And this short film is kind of the thing when uh, history student and a photographer come together, and that's what kind of made this film possible. That we decided that it was the best way to do it once we were there, and right after, like what we do with that next, and it kind of grew organically. The whole project that now we like not to call it a film, but an impact project that has a film, has an investigation thesis, has a documentary photography project. And we're working since day zero with the community back and forth to make, try to bring the film success into material change into the community. That's something that we usually say that that's the moment that we really kind of feel happy for the things that we're doing and trying to make it, go beyond the screen as much as we can.
One thing that really struck me about the film is its gorgeous cinematography. It's beautifully filmed. And it's really this mix of what I would call symbolic shooting plus observational shooting. We watch people living in the community and doing activities like weaving, but we also see images like people sitting in a boat rowing where there's no water on a totally dried lake bed. And I wonder if you could speak about how you approached telling this story visually and why you chose that approach.
Well, it's first, thank you so much for that comment. It's something that also after 2 years of filming it, I kind of analyze it in a different way. And as you say, there was this situation of kind of following the authority leader, and he was like, "Oh, you should talk to this guy. You should talk to this guy. You should talk to," and when we kind of had a couple of hours maybe or minutes with some person that I kind of had the possibility of doing that observational filmmaking and seeing what happens and try to act in response to that. But we also had some situations that were kind of crafted with the community. For example, the image that they are on the boat, it was like a moment that was their abandoned boats. It was like their personal
Mhm.
boats that they haven't been there for years. And one of them, Florencia, which is our associate producer and maximum authority of the community at the moment, says, take a picture of me here because I don't know if I'm going to come back. I don't have why. So that kind of was the start point for that image that kind of they all wanted to go in the boat, and it's like, oh, take a picture with me too. And one said to another, I'll like start rowing. And I was like amazed, and it was complete silence, emptiness, because that's kind of a film, but we try to, shape it and frame it in the most beautiful way as possible because it's an incredible landscape that you could see the loss, but you could also see the people working to do something for it and not just, accept in their will.
Thanks for speaking about that part. I think it's something that really makes this short film stand out this year, and I was really struck by that. I've heard that you're both still very involved with the community since you finished filming, and I'm wondering if you can speak about your continuing relationships with the community, what you're doing there, and why, and how you hope the film can bring more energy, more awareness to what's happening in this part of the world.
So we are working with the community every day, and those advocacy groups I mentioned earlier, they are very close local partners, and so they serve as a really powerful liaison between us, me in the United States, Gasti between the U.S. and Argentina, to be able to work directly with the community. I mean, we also speak with them directly on WhatsApp. But every stage of the distribution and the festivals and every component of the film and its release really has the goal of bringing resources back into the community. And so we've done some grassroots fundraising. We've approached institutions and organizations on the one hand. And then on the other hand, we have those advocacy groups go into the community and meet with the authorities and say, hey, what kind of impact would be most powerful for you guys, right? So it's not us designing impact and then, prescribing it and imposing it onto them, but saying, what would you guys actually like to come from this? And let's work together to make it happen. And so we have that on the one hand, and then we use the film to try and be more of an emotional hook. Like you mentioned, and we're really glad to hear that it kind of hooked you in maybe with the image and it was one of the first ones you saw. And it doesn't give all the information, but it really, I think, hits people in the heart. And you want to learn more and you want to learn how to help. And I think that's the role of the film, to kind of bring many eyes to it and have people saying, okay, what's going on here? How can I help? And then we have the film and the whole project as a vehicle to take that attention and direct it into the community. So that's not all the attention going to us, to the film, but really to the, like Gassi said, the broader impact project. And so we've
The
been able to do
collaboration.
several stages of food security projects, of school supplies, of supporting family businesses with the Urus, which has been really important.
And it's also that back and forth that we constantly have of being both benefited from this project, the community getting the world to know about the story, make it a call to action, but also actually bring material change. And also with Michael, we're trying to set the floor for next projects to keep on doing this, to make the impact that we want to make with really, really compelling stories around the world that climate, that are a big evidence of climate change and how it affects society, and making, kind of fostering that change through filmmaking, trying to, that interaction, that back and forth, and making it the most impactful way we can.
Well, congratulations to both of you on this really beautiful short film. There's a it's really an interesting way of showing what the results of this war are. This war of as you said, human overdevelopment and its impact on a people. And I think you do a beautiful job of showing this kind of quiet, slow trauma to this community, and it really moved me. And I wish you the best of luck with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think you said it perfectly. It's that movement that we were looking for and the people that see it, and trying not to be informational documentary, but a short piece that stays in your mind and makes you, also think about what's our relationship with water. We don't have to be in Lake Popo. It's not that, and it's not just that it tried for them. It tried for all of us. It's like as a part of as a whole community. So trying to address that questions that they don't have correct answers for sure, but well, through storytelling and filmmaking, we try to open this conversation. So thank you so much for conversating with us.